Welcome back, folks. It's Locked On Chiefs. It is the Q&A on a Tuesday night, even though it says up there it's usually Monday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Sorry, today is today. It's a big day, and as much as you guys want to talk about the New York Giants and maybe not getting what you want, the Chiefs are winging trades out there left and right. They had a couple of takers. We're going to get into that as well as all of your questions here on RGR Football. Hey, Mr. Dan Harms, how are you?
Doing all right. I think my daughter got me sick this week. She got over a fever or something last week, and now I'm sitting over here with a scratchy throat. So I have this gigantic mug of tea that I'm going to try to hopefully get rid of all this sickness with.
Is it green tea? Are you making?
It is not green tea.
Okay, I thought you were making a Sparty bet conclusion or something there, buddy.
Oh, it's not. I don't even acknowledge Michigan anymore because, like, as a football team, they're just the continuously same team that they've been for the last 20 years. Like, they beat the bad teams they play. They can't beat the good teams because they get up 30-14 and just say, "Hey, we're done playing." But no, this is just an amazingly huge mug that has my favorite college football team on it.
Well done, folks. I know there's a lot to go over. The Chiefs completed 2 trades today. I've seen the transaction report for the first one. I'm sure the other one is out there and just hasn't been updated yet. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into all of your questions tonight. If you're new, click the like and the sub and the bell notification now, and then you will find out everything that comes after this. Dan's going to have a video tomorrow. We'll be back with the live stream with Seth and I on Thursday night, and we'll go from there. But there's a lot in here, so you need the notifications to know when something pops up. And it generally helps if you can also, if you're new, put question marks at the beginning of your question. You're going to see them here in a minute when I start. A lot out there. I want to start, though, because I didn't give Michael Pointer enough credit last night. Thank you, Michael, for a big super chat that I couldn't translate to Swedish krona at the time. So I just want to start off. Thank you, Michael.
Yes,
always been
you
super supportive, and folks,
very much.
Oh, it's one of those things I can't do currency in my head very well. Even I can do the Canadian stuff. That's about it. But
I don't do any of it because I have not touched anything to do with math or currency in like 10 years. So it's all gone.
Fair enough. If you want to support us, please feel free to use the super chats. That's an easy way to do it. You could also buy shirts over at the RGR store. You can get all those links. Our fearless moderator is here, Aaron Morrow. You can contact him if somebody's acting up or if there's, a stray Raiders fan in there because, they're trying to kill people these days. So you never know what's going to happen. But we're going to get into the questions, and I'm sure if we go too long, we'll get into the news of the day. We'll go from there. So unfortunately, there's tons of questions already. I'm going to start from the first one that I see, and we'll move forward from there, you guys. And that is Flapjack City. If you asked a question earlier, just throw it back in there if you would. How can we have leaders in the locker room when the leaders are the ones causing the social media drama? Tyron Mahomes' family, Hitch, Frank, Andy. That's a lot of noise. It is, but it's also meaningless. I mean, the social media stuff doesn't really affect anybody on the field. Do you
and if it
feel
does,
differently?
then you've got some real issues. Like if you're letting social media crap affect your play on the field, it's a systemic issue within the organization, within the coaching staff, within the front office. Like it's top down. If that kind of stuff affects what you're doing, then one, you're bringing in the wrong players, and that's just, it doesn't work that way. So I think yesterday kind of shows you that it didn't impact them for the most part. A defense I feel like played relatively well outside of, I know that's the Giants, but you still have to come to play. Like they've been letting teams just kind of do what they want to, and they did a decent job of taking stands every now and then. So but the systemic issues on offense don't have anything to do with social media. So
yeah, I hear you. Chris, what's the point of signing guys like Anderson if you're not going to use him? It's an evolution. I don't know if he's in the right place as much as they want him to be, or if he's still learning the offense, or he doesn't know the calls, or if he's just running a simplified route tree. I don't know what it is. It's about that time that you would think he should be able to catch on to it. He's always had a good reputation for being able to learn playbooks, et cetera, at other stops in his career. So I do expect that to pick up. It's confounding to me too, especially when you're targeting Blake Bell, and you guys know how I feel about that. So, yeah, I mean,
It's pretty sad.
We won't know until we know. Kansas City Chiefs, I'm not going to answer the rug stuff. I don't know enough about it, and quite frankly, I just don't care. I'm not going there. Good question, Channa. Why not get draft capital for LDT? It's because it wasn't offered.
Yep.
An interior lineman backup that hasn't played in 2 seasons, you're not getting draft capital out of it. Would I have liked to seen them take a runner on a linebacker or a DB? Yeah, but
while I don't disagree, I think this could be a little useful. And like you said, an old offensive lineman is going to be a tight end. Something that they have been missing that Nate Tice has pointed out on Twitter is inline tight end blocking. It doesn't let them do a whole lot of stuff in the run game. So for example, they come out in their 3-by-1 all the time with Kelsey in that reduced split. It doesn't let you do a whole lot different looks in your run game. I think that at the very least, you can use him for an extra offensive lineman, a tight end that comes in just to block. That's all you really need him for. Maybe come in a few times a game to get some more push, just to help the run game diversify a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit too optimistic, but that's my approach to it.
And I'm guessing they're thinking the same thing. He does play a ton of special teams too, so you think he can get some contribution there. Maybe give that unit a boost. The long and short of it is, they were wrong about Noah Gray being a contributor as a rookie. That's perfectly clear to us now. Maybe he could still get there. Maybe it is just that shift from what was an offense that was pretty straightforward to what, is maybe the most complex in the league. So, Kyle, you're absolutely right. That's the problem, is even when Ben Neiman 56 does know where to go, he can't actually affect the change. He cannot beat a lineman in any way, shape, or form. He plays patty cake out there and gets his butt kicked. He's not a physical linebacker, and that's the problem. They don't have enough of that. Jared, thank you for bringing it up. I knew that somebody would. Dan and I think have different concept on this. It is a post-trade deadline release, so that means you automatically go to waivers. It doesn't matter that he's a vested veteran. Yeah. That's why. My guess is somebody claims him before the Chiefs, although they're low enough at this point, maybe they could get it done. I don't know. But would you like to see them do it?
It doesn't move the needle for me. And the fact of the matter is, you already have too many bodies at wide receiver, and you're already not taking, Robert Robinson and Pringle off the field for the most part. Like those guys are playing, and you're going to have to stop playing him, McCole Hardman, and Josh Gordon, who everyone wants to get more involved on the offense. You're going to have to not play some of these guys to get DeSean Jackson on the field. It doesn't make sense to me. That's all.
Yeah, I'm with you. Folks, we got a ton of questions in here. I'm going to be kind of brief about a lot of them. Metal, glad you're back. I hope that it's a spark. They certainly seem to have a spine about them. The defense did last week. We'll just have to see if it carries over against the Packers. Ian, I would like to see Armani get some more. And I think you guys know how I feel about Zane Anderson. I think the time has come, but Spags won't agree with me, so we're kind of stuck there. BF, thank you very much. We appreciate the super chat. I would rather miss the playoffs and have the team get an actual full season of rest instead of going the entire way and losing. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, but I don't know. You play the game to win, right? I mean, that's your job. At the end of the day, I couldn't walk off the field knowing that I didn't do my best to try to win a ball game.
It's I get the concept. Trust me, part of me sometimes when they're going as bad as they are, it's just kind of sell some of these. There's a little part of me that's just kind of sell what you can, recoup, get a better draft pick. But at the same time, every these professionals, they want to win. They all want to win. And even if they're not playing well, they're 4-4 right now, they're talking about making that run to the playoffs. That's what this is going to be about for them. So
yeah. Alex, what's up with Kelsey and Mahomes not hooking up? There are a couple of open gaps. My take is he zeroed in on Tyreek. He wanted to go Tyreek, and that was it. I think he's a little tunnel visioned right now. Do you see something else, Dan?
Not really. I think they were just doing a little bit of bracketing Kelsey too. They felt pretty good apparently about their situation against Tyreek Hill, and just let him feast underneath, and they just wanted to take Travis Kelsey away. I guess that's really what I noticed the most. So
yeah, I'm with you. Let's see. Comment. Covered that. Biggest steal of a contract in the offseason, I couldn't tell you for certain, Scott. I don't know. I don't remember many offseason signings that really haven't worked out too terribly well. We'll go over that in the offseason. I'd have to dig out all the numbers. Daryl, I do not agree with you. I actually think that this is more of Andy meddling, to tell you the truth. I think this is Andy falling in love with somebody more than we've seen in recent years. I think they have to grow out of it together. I don't know that you can replace him with somebody better to fit with Andy Reid. I would question that.
And it's like, it's much to do with the Spags and much to do with the Andy Reid stuff. If you fire these guys, who are you going to get to replace them? Like, and Veach has had like every single GM. He's had his hits, he's had his misses. And unfortunately, when they go out and they trade for a player or they bring in a high-priced free agent, those haven't worked out too well, which is the big concern. I think that the draft is currently leveling out a little bit. They've had hits and they've had some pretty good pretty good hits and pretty good misses. But the thing for me is that they got to figure out how to get those contracts resolved going forward. Like, you have to figure out, identify the players properly, and then actually get them to work in the system, because unfortunately they haven't had success doing that.
Yeah, fair enough. Welcome, Seth Piper, to the memberships. I'm glad that you're here, folks. If you want to be a member, you can join us. You get extra videos, you get extra content from me, from Gooch, from Stevie, from Dan occasionally as well, though Dan's doing a lot of the grunt work out front of the channel. So.
No, we do what we can, man.
right, we do. And some of it is unfiltered, we'll call it. I wanted to say unplugged for some reason, but that wouldn't really work.
Nope.
But
not safe for work.
You can join over there underneath Dan. Click that join button. If you're on mobile, it's right next to the RGR icon. You can just click it. Join up if you want the extra stuff and all those things, and you want it in Discord. Please join at the rookie level or above and send me an email at this little guy. This is the email address so that you can get into the Discord. I need your the name that your account is under and the right email to send it to. If you would contact me there, I would appreciate it. And that will make things easier for me to give you what you're looking for. Now, when we get back to, also, big shout out for Jeremy Vloss, 12 months as a member.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated. It's a great core of members around here, and I'm digging it. Ian, I knew someone was going to bring this up. Frustrated with Neiman. He's a solid backup. He shouldn't be on the field, but I got to tell you, Jaylon Smith is not physically capable of being better than him right now.
He can't
play. Dan, tell me if I'm nuts, but yeah.
No, he can't play. He can't move. Like, we think that Bolton can't move laterally. He's 10 times worse than Bolton is moving laterally. He physically doesn't have it anymore. After his injury, he can't cover. He can't do anything, and he can't play physically enough in the run game to offset any of it. That's why the Packers had 2 games, and they're in desperate need of linebacker help.
Yeah.
And they cut him. They released him because he can't play.
I'm with you. And unfortunately, I like the guy, I like his story, but it doesn't look good.
I do too. I
Multiple
loved him
releases
coming out
in a couple of weeks is, man.
Yeah.
BF, thank you very much. Going as far as they have in the playoffs the past few years has to be killer on the players since they haven't gotten much rest. I agree, and I think that we're seeing the culmination of that. I think that's why historically it's been so difficult for a team to make the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. It's not an excuse. It's just a fact of life. You don't get that restoration in the off season when you're playing that many extra games. And now that it's a 17-game season and a playoff run, it just makes it that much more difficult. I see a couple of different comments and questions in here about Orlovsky having things to say today. I will say this. I never played quarterback. I'm not a quarterback guru, but I don't see enough of a difference for me to be concerned, other than the fact that I think after the Eagles game, I feel like Patrick has re-injured his lower body somewhere. I don't know if it has anything to do with the toe, but I don't think he's 100% in any way, shape, or form.
This is what Mahomes has always done. And when you have, this was a big thing coming out. Like, they talked about his footwork not being a thing, and Andy Reid and everyone took it on, and they got him to the point where he could play in an NFL game and continuously do what he does. Okay. The footwork's always been an issue. The setting has always been an issue. The hitching out to his left or out to his right instead of hitching up has always been an issue. The problem here for me is that he's doing all this stuff, but he's not confident in where he's going with the football. Okay. Every time he throws the ball, lately, every game, it gets tipped up somewhere and it could possibly be intercepted. Right now, I feel like he's not playing with any confidence because he's not looking off linebackers. There's a couple plays that Orlovsky was showing where Mahomes would typically hit that. But for me, it's not so much the footwork, it's the confidence. Because when Mahomes, even when he's doing all that stuff in the hitches and getting back on that and going one way or the other, the confidence to throw a ball to a spot, he can get it there. He always can. He's always been able to. Right now, he's not playing with the requisite confidence and in his own abilities because he's pressing so much. And I feel like he doesn't want to play within this kitty box that defenses are making him play into. And it's frustrating the absolute crap out of him. And he can't deal with it. He needs to mentally work past it because that will catch up his bad footwork with what it used to be and being able to hit these throws.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Chief Cannon, I will never say you should tank for anything, period. There's no reason for that. Honestly, the mental impact of that on the players that you want to keep as your core going forward, that hurts. Like that, I think does you a disservice in the long run. I know college teams have done it. I know there's rumors that NFL teams have done it. I've never met anyone in the NFL coaching circles or front office circles that have ever tanked on purpose because it destroys your morale.
Yep.
Let's see. Moving down, I'll click that one just because it's a nice message. Thank you, Aaron Morrow. A lot of people asking about if Gore was overlooked. Not overlooked because they understood what he could do with the ball in his hands. He's a north-south runner. They're still trying to run stretch to the outside, which isn't his thing. And he needed to develop his ability to protect Patrick when he is in the game. So that's why you saw the delay on Gore. How much will Ingram be as a player? I think he's a part-time player myself. I don't think he's a starter. I think Mike Daniel will man first down exclusively, maybe most of second down. He'll come in on pass rushing situations.
I feel the exact same way. I that's what I've assumed the entire time, even before the season started. He's also just on a defensive end fit for what Spags wants as a 3-down player. He doesn't have the body type to hold up. And I think that he was being held out and injured because of the trade situation. He wanted out and they were designated him as an injury so they didn't have to play him.
Yeah. A lot of people asking about Dan Sorensen, folks. There is zero market for Dan Sorensen. You were not getting anything for him. In fact, I'll give them credit because by granting LDT his trade, he had to approve it, by the way. So he approved going to New York, which I think is good for him in a whole other way. We can talk about that later. But they actually made up cap space. They have $600,000 more today than they had yesterday in cap space after these two maneuvers. So it worked out really well. There is no market for Dan Sorensen. He does not have skills to play in the league any longer. Time has crushed him and it is over. William Bradley, Spags, the coaches look at Sorensen and Neiman through beer goggles exclusively. I like that.
I wouldn't disagree with that statement.
I mean, it is flashes of the past, I think.
With Sorensen, and Neiman with what they think he can be that he can't be. Your mind can only do so much, guys, on the field.
See, Spencer, could the issues be solved by simply running the ball more? I don't know. It's like I've been saying that since Andy came to town, but I think it's finally showing itself with all the light boxes and deep coverage. Yes, I mean they're still ripping off like 5+ yards of carry. Just run the damn ball. Now I sound like Seth. Sorry. I didn't mean to raise my voice like that. Here, answer Ian's. You make sense.
All right. Thank you for the question, Ian. For the love of all things good, why do we keep telling Willie Gate up the field so much? This is a perfect question, and I'm going to tell you guys why. He should be on the field all the time, maybe miss a play every so often for a breather, but that's it. So Willie Gay is an amazing player. He's got so much effort. The problem so far is the Ben Neiman. We just talked about it, the brain thing. Okay, you have Ben Neiman who knows where he's supposed to be on the field at all times, and you have Willie Gay who doesn't always know where he's supposed to be, and sometimes can make up for that with his amazing physical gifts. And that worked on that pick. Granted, Daniel Jones was just staring at his receiver, and Willie was like, "You're gonna throw that? Okay, I'm gonna go get that." So he just stared at it the whole time. If he doesn't do that, if a quarterback can manipulate you, for example, say that's Aaron Rodgers, he stares down that receiver. You saw Willie start to move. He was already moving in that direction. You can manipulate him a little bit, and he's sometimes that's really for me what I'm saying is that Willie's so physically gifted that sometimes he tries to make a play that's not really there, and that can get him out of position. And that's the whole process with him going forward, is they're figuring that out. He's playing more, and I think you're going to see him continue to play more as he gets more comfortable on the field, and he looks very comfortable. They'll get there.
Yeah, I'm with you completely. Mike Daniel, thank you very much for the super chat.
Thank
Big
you.
chunk, and we appreciate it.
Incredible.
I know you've been here a long time, and you're a member as well, so thank you very much for the support.
Very, very much.
Oh, you were listening to Orlovsky. Okay. And he seems to think Pat's problem is purely his footwork declining more and more and becoming lazy. I don't know what he thinks he's being lazy about, but he's certainly, I think, more panicked than lazy. But and Sorensen is on historic pace to give up like way too much. This is a combination. There's another question in there that about the pass rush. We'll get to that in a second, but this is all about trying to find a way to make sense of what's going on with Patrick. Yeah. And I think this is a stretch.
Me too. And like I said, we just talked about it. I think it's more confidence than anything because that it'll catch up. I really believe it.
And Mike, the second part of yours, I think, is affected by the fact that the D-line isn't getting enough pressure. I mean, hardly any pressure at all, to tell you the truth. Like, they're celebrating the fact Frank got 5 pressures last night. Ooh, like Von Miller, I think 2 games ago, had 14 by himself. So let's not throw parties for 5 pressures on a given night when you're a $20 million a year pass rusher. That's ridiculous.
Hey. You can only go one way, okay? Frank Clark's been doing nothing for this team for years, okay? The last 2 games, you have something to build off of.
Okay.
You can't just like tear him down. Like, I know that hasn't been great, but come on, you got some improvement here.
Okay, look at this. We're like flipping roles now. That's awesome. All right. Mike, thank you very much. And Spencer, your question rolls right into that as well. But here's the thing: it's talent. You made a gamble on Frank Clark being the old Frank Clark you saw in Seattle. That hasn't been the case outside of the playoff run in 2019. And you haven't invested any other resources in the position. You tried to take the tackle and put him outside because he wanted to, and because he's been dominant inside. You haven't got another edge in there. They haven't invested. You guys have heard me scream it for the last, 7 drafts. Edge and corner. But they have elected not to do that. That's why this is happening.
It's terrible. They have no athletes at the defensive end position. Ingram's the best athlete at defensive end they've had in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe Taco in terms of pure athleticism, but maybe
Taco, who got bumped up to the Steelers 53 today when they moved up Ingram out. So just so you guys know, anything positive to say about the matchup? Most of Rodgers' weapons are hurt too, much like Daniel Jones were. So there's always a chance.
Yeah, I mean, the positive thing for me out of this game is exactly that. You're both dealing with some injuries. Maybe the Chiefs are getting healthier right now, and I guess you could really consider they're dealing with mental blockage, and the Packers are dealing with physical limitations on their offensive weapon side. So, I mean, maybe that evens out. Defensively, they got some injuries too. Maybe you can take advantage, but the one thing that I've been so irritated about, and I'm sorry, I'm going on another rant, is that defenses
trying to pick up the pace.
I know, I'm sorry. Defenses have a week to prep for this offense, and every single week they've seen the same crap, and every defense has executed it perfectly, every single one. Yeah. Andy Reid's got 15 plays this last week. The last 3 weeks, he's only done it once. What does he have? What do they have that he doesn't have?
That's
frustrating. I'm done.
Okay. I can understand. I feel the pain. I know it well. And you guys, I'm going to combine. I see a bunch of linebacker comments. I'm going to put them all together in here, along with Josh's question. Does Hitch start immediately at MLB over Bolton when he comes back? I don't think that he should, but you know how the coaches are. And I think if the coaches know what's good for them, and meaning they want to keep their jobs, they cannot let this defense slide backwards. You saw them bow up a little bit. They have to maintain that, which means Bolton is the MLB right now. Now, if you go to the 2 linebacker sets, I think you rotate Bolton and Hitch in next to Willie. But you have to play Hitch at the Sam now, and that gets Neiman off the field.
Yep, you have to. You let Willie play the will and run around, and you have to make Hitchens be the same. You have to. You don't have a choice now.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, if they don't, then it's on them when they get fired.
Yep.
It is what it is. A lot of you guys, more linebacker questions. I'm just going to cover them all because I can't put them all up on the screen, especially when Mr. Kane just joined the memberships. Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Here's the thing with the linebacker rotations or the rotations in general. Ingram should be situational. Dana should be the starter. Okafor is still going to get a lot of reps because I don't think Frank can go more than 80% of the reps to begin with. And you want to keep them fresh. This allows you to have a designated pass rusher because Dana, even Cato when he's out there, and definitely Okafor are base ends. They're not designated pass rushers. That's not their job. Same thing with the linebackers. You can now rotate because now Hitch and Bolton can play next to Willie. You can have your nickel, and hopefully we never see a snap count like we saw from last night where Ben Neiman outplays both Willie Gay and Nick Bolton, which makes absolutely zero sense. And they have to get a hold of that. I mean, quite frankly, they're going to have to overhaul in the offseason if this defense slides backwards at all. So
I think they already might have to, but okay.
Wait, I'm just saying. Mr. Kane, welcome. Glad you're here. Send me that email if you signed up for rookie or not. I won't know until later. Yes, you guys, I heard about Ruggs. I don't have any insight to that. It's too bad. Maybe that, this is why they do interviews at the draft. This is why that portion of character and things comes into it, because you never know what you're going to get. Let's see. Ian, I think I answered yours, but let's check. Seems like Hardman and Pringle are open a lot. They should go into the game with those two as the focus points. You're right. They don't cover them because they know that Patrick's not looking for him. He's looking for Tyreek and Travis, and that everything else is an afterthought. And that's why they're open, in my opinion.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I've been saying it since last year. You have to go in with the game and saying, we're going to start throwing it to these guys and make defense respect them, or they're not going to. And they don't. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm with you. Zach, I would say that at times he does. I don't think this season he is. The fact that they pulled out that trick play in the red zone again last night, I don't think he's saving anything. I think Andy knows that they're in trouble and they got to get cut.
Yeah.
Daryl, 10 months.
Awesome.
Thanks for being a member, buddy.
Appreciate you, man.
Ian, I haven't looked at free agents coming up this offseason. I'm just trying to get through here, brother. My videos. Thank you. We appreciate that. I think that, where are they at now? They have 9 games remaining. I think they can still get 7 wins. They just got to do it.
If you ask me, how many do I think they can based off of where they're playing right now? I think they can get to 8 wins. 8 to 9 wins the way they're playing right now. Now, ceiling wise, I think 7 out of the last 9 is feasible. But I got to see it. I haven't seen it.
Right. Yeah. This is about potential. This is not about probability.
Got to see it.
I'm going to run through some because we're falling farther behind. I don't see any more playing time for Dorian Daniel. They're just too stubborn to do it. And quite frankly, I play him in Sorensen's role as a strong safety before I'd let him play linebacker, to tell you the truth. I don't have any updates on CEH's recovery. They signed the second round CB Jackson to the practice squad. Honestly, that's where he belongs. I had people asking me about Bradley Ane. He belongs on a practice squad. They have development to do. Neither of them are helping you right now.
But give me Ane on the practice squad yesterday.
Right? He landed on somebody's practice squad yesterday?
No, I'm saying give me on this practice squad. Get it done fast.
Yeah, I'm with you. Good question from Derek Campos. I'm going to scroll past it, but just your thoughts. Do you think that Chris Jones is earning his contract?
Right now, no. But it's partly on them for making him play defensive end. If he was playing defensive tackle most of the time, you're seeing what he can do. He's a game wrecker, and he's continuously piling up everything. He's doing what he can do best, and when making him play out of position is what's forced him to not live up to the contract.
Gotcha. All right, I'm going to let you take this one. My daughter is having an issue, so I'm going to step away for a second. But here you go.
All right. Thank you for the super chat, Big Jack. KC25, appreciate you guys very much for this. What's the people saying that Beach needs to go? Yeah, I understand. First sign, couldn't praise him enough for the work he's done in the offseason. Now they want to do is see him gone. Makes no sense. I know. I understand. It's frustrating, but that's part of being a GM is you get praised for the good stuff that happens. You often, even sometimes, don't get praised for it. Andy Reid does. And then you get crapped on for everything bad that happens because you're the one that, signed the dotted line and things like that. So Veach is doing a lot of what Andy Reid has said to do, and that will get you into some good spots and some bad spots. But like I said, we don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. And if we did, we'd probably see a little bit worse off for Andy Reid. But again, we'll never know.
False alarm. Thank you, Big Jack. Appreciate it. Want to go back to Alex's a little bit more about DeSean. DeSean has an inkling of this offense. He's kind of a one-trick pony at this point. I think because of loyalty, because of familiarity, and because they think that they can put speed on the other side and maybe that will open up their deep game again, I think they might do it. Yeah. I don't know that they should. I don't know that he can help you that much, but
probably not. I'm gonna say probably not. I'm out on him, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're gonna say no that they're not?
I don't think they will. No.
Okay. I kind of think they will, but we'll find it all. Okay, next question. Christo, you don't need to share, man. You are perfectly acceptable to just ask questions. And Christo, I thank you for being here. I know you're here all the time, so thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much.
And Mike, again
thank you, Mike.
Very much appreciated. I think it needs to be said that Mahomes at times likes to throw to Josh Gordon, needs to take heat off the ball. If you're a shortstop, you're not chugging into the second baseman. I mean, there is something to be said to that, but when you're thrown through traffic, I don't think you want to take a whole lot off of it. And there were a lot of guys running around, and I wouldn't have thrown that ball, but I'm not Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly. He makes his decisions, and they practice this kind of stuff with the speed. So
yeah,
kind of live and die with it.
You're absolutely right. Okay, we're going to try to catch up here, folks.
Yeah.
Thank you for the likes and the subs. If you would share this out to the world too, whether you're on Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or whatever the heck you use, I would appreciate that as well. Williams, Sorensen is every opponent's number 2 receiver. Oh. Yes, I mean, let's just talk about completion percentage. I think he's given up 83% of the year. I mean, it is a completion in waiting when you walk up to the line.
Yep.
It just is what it is. How could the Chiefs scheme to get more pressure with the new addition? That's the best thing. If Melvin Ingram, who this season is still putting up a 12.9 pressure rate, that's a percentage of his pass rush snaps that he actually produces a pressure, which is higher than Frank Clark's. It's higher than Chris Jones as well. You're absolutely right. You shouldn't need to scheme if he's able to do that. Now, can he give you the numbers of snaps? That's the question. But if you have him, this is where it gets really interesting when you then decide to either send a safety or send Snead or send Willie. Now, all of a sudden, you have 5 guys that have a chance to actually get home.
Exactly. That's all it's about. And he can do speed to power too, so he's still got some moves in the tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. First drive, Mahomes was 3 to 5 step drops, just like we talked about. Ball was out quick after the pick. He fell apart. I wouldn't say he fell apart, but he went back to his old ways. Brown block perfect on short drops. Why can't they keep that pace? That's a very good question. Something I was screaming at the television all last night. You earned it by going down, and it wasn't 5-yard chunks. It was 10 and 14-yard chunks that they were getting.
Yep.
That is enough to do it. And the more you do it, the more you draw the safeties down, and then you can do what you want to do and go deep all day. They still had some deep shots that were in play. If the ball were delivered better, they still had opportunities.
They did. There's 2 drives in this game where they were fine. The first drive, then obviously the pick, and then the one where they ran 7 times in a row. Are there any coincidences in those drives? One was they methodically marched down the field, and then they decided to shove the ball down the Giants' throats, and the offensive line dominated them up front. But here we are trying to throw these deep. Just everybody go. Just everybody go.
Yeah, I mean, hey. Red, you have a very good point. I did it with the Kelsey contract. For jokes, we did it on Locked On Chiefs, and I said they won't trade for Ingram, and it happened. So if I just start playing, the opposite game, I think maybe we'll get some stuff done here.
Let's hope so.
Dre, good question. If this goes in the crapper and you have to move on from Spags, Fangio would be a guy, and I do think he will get fired, so he'll be available. Yeah. He is definitely a guy. I think you've said in the past you would go at him first, right?
The first guy I would call.
He would be on my short list as well. So yeah, I think that's perfectly viable, Dre.
Yeah.
Ian, how are you? Is Kelsey hurt? No one in the front office saying it. We talked about that last night. We actually do think that he's not 100%.
At the very least, he's just exhausted. He doesn't look the same.
Let's see. Michael, can Hitch still make the defensive calls in a different position with Bolton as the mic?
He can help him.
Technically, sure, but it'll still be up to Bolton to make the adjustments. You saw a couple times last night where he didn't have the time to come down the line and actually scoot guys over. So they got caught out of alignment a couple of times. And that'll be the tricky part if they're both kind of doing it. So
I think it'll be more of a in huddle, like right before the play calls, and Hitchens can kind of help relay a little bit of what, if it comes out like this, you can do this. I think that's really more of what would help, because he doesn't necessarily have that right now. He's got to do it himself.
I'm with you. Madman, he'd rather have Zimmer. If Zim gets fired, I can understand talking to him, but quite frankly, what he's done with his own DBs, which is the strength of what Mike Zimmerman does, it's got me a little suspect lately.
Yeah, and it's like he does a lot of fun stuff. A lot of it's complicated too, and Spag's system is pretty complicated as it is. So maybe they want to go a different direction. I'm not saying that Fangio runs a super easy concept, but he's it's also much more proven everywhere he's gone. He's been a good defense everywhere, and I can't say that about Zim in the last. I know he has a reputation of that, but the Vikings defense hasn't been great over the past 5 years. It's been up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, I'd be concerned. He'd be on my short list for sure.
Yes, so definitely.
But I don't know that he'd be the favorite. I can't tell you. I can't make heads or tails of what Melvin Ingram thinks. If you guys saw, like, when he was behind the scenes in San Diego before they moved to LA, that last like Hard Knocks, like, dude, I can't get a read on him at all. Okay, to beat Green Bay, we need the defense and offensive step. We need to stop giving the ball away and stop the penalties. So I ask you, which of these 4 things will and won't happen?
Thanks, Dad.
I think the defense comes up. I think they slow down the penalties, but I think the offense still gives the ball away.
At this point, I can't say it's not going to happen, because we've all been saying it can't possibly continue at this pace, and yet here we are in week 8, going into week 9 and continuing. So I will say it wasn't for last week. That's about all I can say. So I think the defense is getting there. Again, penalties, we'll see. It's been frustrating this year with penalties. I think we're going to see a better offense against Green Bay. I think we will. Total.
I hope so. What do you think of this one?
Both KC and Pittsburgh staff got a good look at Ingram and Charlton. We let Charlton walk and we let Ingram walk. Who's right and who's wrong? Couldn't tell you, because Charlton hasn't played a snap in over a year now. And Ingram, while he was on the field, was really good. I've seen him. I've seen the clips. He's very good. He's a lot of juice left. And Taco, like I said, we haven't seen him. So I know that we're talking about why the Steelers would help us, but he would be sitting there on the bench not wanting to play.
Mm-hmm.
They got something for a player that wasn't going to play for them. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters, considering the Chiefs are 4-4 and haven't shown any real signs of life, and the Steelers are floundering themselves. So what do they care?
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Metal Jones has been good in the middle, and I think their line's pretty beat up in Green Bay, as I understand, so I think he's going to have another good game.
Yeah.
This has got to be for you, because it's Gooch's. I was doing just fine until I got a message saying Frank has nowhere to go but up. So I was agreeing with you.
That's fine. That's okay, Gooch. This is what we do. We have our stuff. And honestly, you can say what you want to, but that's exactly what it was. You have nothing from Frank, and then you got 2 games. You got 2 games.
All right. Gooch is squarely in my court now. Folks, if you don't know Brian Gooch, he is one of our members and one of our contributors. Please check him out. You members already know him well, and you can find him on the Rogue Head Huddle with Stevie Keys on Fridays. Let's see. Poison. Yeah, unfortunately, Neiman will be in the rotation. Hopefully that means less snaps overall, but he will definitely be in the rotation when Hitch returns.
Yeah.
I think also just a guy, he can put his hand down. I think he's actually better with his hand down now than maybe a few years ago. He's better in a 2-point. I'm not so sure. But I think that's also about the Taco Ingram thing, was also about how often are they in a 3-4 front. The Pittsburgh still runs some. I want to say it's like 23% or something like is what I saw, which is definitely different than playing in a traditional 4-man dime.
I will say I've seen a bit of the Chiefs doing condensed defensive line and bringing that Sam down, or even Snead coming in a little bit and giving a 5-man front look. So that they're mixing some things up with their defensive line looks, and that's good to see. And I think Ingram can have a good shot at doing that, helping out with that.
Yeah. Kevin, I think it's just trust. And quite frankly, that pass last night going off of his face mask didn't help that much. Stevie, what do you got? Dan was just trying to get your outrage Spidey sense going, Gooch.
That's all I was doing, man. I needed to get you in here.
I'm glad you guys are back together. Let's see. And Gooch replies with, well, he found it. Bobby, is it mirror or do they have 0 RPOs lately? Does it have anything to do with the 2 deep safety look? They held most of them out last night, but until last night, they were running them constantly, and that was part of the problem. Yep. I think that actually helped some.
Agreed. And they're going to move the ball better without having to constantly rely on RPOs.
Right. MT, thank you very much.
Thank you, MT. Appreciate
I have no answer, but I appreciate you as well. Redhead, what's the disconnect between Veach and Reed's and Spag's systems? There isn't. Other than I feel like Spags gives maybe some opinion. I'm not sure that Brett Veach follows it, whereas Andy Reid gives opinion and Brett Veach does it. It is definitely a pecking order. I don't think it's a disconnect system-wise, to tell you the truth.
No, I don't think so either. I think I personally believe, this is my own personal opinion, that Spags is given Veach, like you said, his opinion, a list of players. Like, look, these are the guys that I want. And they've all fit typically what he wants to do. Outside of, size-wise, a little bit here with an athletic linebacker in Willie Gay and a not so athletic linebacker, big athletic linebacker in Bolton. Defensive ends have been big, 260 plus. Like, that's what they've drafted. And I personally don't think it's right for today's NFL to have non-athletic defensive ends just going wild and waiting for 3.5 seconds to get to the quarterback.
I agree. Sean, I really don't know. I know he's got a groin. I know that the injury to the knee is still something out there. He says it isn't anything. Mike Tomlin says he wasn't able to play on it. So I really don't know, man, until he gets in here. He was complaining about playing time. I think if he can go, he will be able to earn as much as he wants.
Agreed.
Take this one, Dan.
If you were a betting man, thank you for the question, Mahomes, 86. Is this team making the playoffs? I'm saying no. I'm saying no.
Okay. Fair enough. Nice super chat from Andy H. I refuse to put it on the screen, Andy, and you know exactly why.
I saw it too. I was like, I wonder if he's going to get that by you.
I will just say, Andy, it rubs the lotion on the skin and does this whenever it is told. So let's be nice. Hardman seems really excel at running the jet sweep because it seems to get positive yards most of the time. Casey should run that play more than one a game. Do you agree? Oscar, thank you for the super chat. Generally, I do agree, except they were overusing it so that the defense was stacking, and especially the nickels were coming up and cutting it off.
Exactly. Do it. Move the defense around. Hit it coming back the other way. Hit a crosser going the other way. Have him come around, use the jet sweep, hit a crosser going the other way. That's what you have to do. And Andy Reid waited until the third quarter to pull the jet sweep out of the bag, and I hated him for it.
Well, I'll tell you, they tried it too, though, because on the end around that Tyreek ran, Darrell went the other way. And I think that was really effective too. It just so happened that it was Tyreek that got the ball that time.
Yeah. And
they can run that play
open in the flat.
Yeah, I mean, very true. Darrell, thank you, of course. Is it time to let Coach B call the plays? I seriously wonder if the Gore drive, if that's not what he did.
Who knows? We'll never know who's been calling what. We'll never know. And I would, like I said, if that was true, man, I would.
Hey, you shut Dan up. Well done.
Yes,
hi, Andy. I'll put that one on screen for you, buddy.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Poison. Okay, we covered that one. Sorry, guys. I know I'm falling behind here. If you would check out the other channel, I would appreciate that. If you would like and sub and share with it, I would love that too. I know we're running short. I'm going to try to get here. Let's see. I'm only 9 minutes behind according to the timestamps. So
all right, let's try to get this go.
I see how Sorensen being benched permanently. Ryan just say there's no way they'll bench. There's no way they'll bench Dan Sorensen or Ben Neiman.
Oh man, please.
Okay, I hope. I mean, if the universe will listen, I'm all for it, Ian.
I'm so done.
William, thank you again.
Thank you, William.
Last one, I promise. If you project his numbers over 17 game season, Dan Sorensen is on pace to give up a McCole Hardman, but with more touchdowns.
Oh,
I'll see your McCole Hardman and
That
raise you a
hurts.
DeMarcus Robinson.
that hurts.
Oh, man.
I don't like thinking about that.
Ooh, Jared, interesting. Hot take. I think I go safety in the first round and find an edge rusher in free agency. I think that's the problem. That's what they tried to do with Frank, right? Aging free agent edge rushers are not the answer.
Give me a safety in free agency and give me a young, athletic defensive end in the draft. I will do that every single time.
I would do exactly that because we got to face it, you guys. Unless something turns around in both on-field play and attitude, it's a long shot that Tyrann Mathieu returns right now.
Right now,
You can't have Sorensen on this roster. So right now, you have a rookie who hasn't played at all in Zane Anderson. You have Armani Watts who's played a handful of snaps in 4 years. You can't count on him either. You have Juan Thornhill, and that's all you have. You have to go young. I'm old at safety, so you have some experience.
Yep.
And quite frankly, it's got to be, I think, also a guy that can switch off with Juan and play the free so that Juan can come down and be the robber sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I think that aspect of the defense has to stay.
I agree.
Any DCs that could be available this offseason you'd like to see brought in? I mean, you guys.
We talked about a little bit about some of the guys, Zimmer and Fangio, but the reality is Steve Spagnuolo is probably going to be the defensive coordinator next year.
Yeah. And if so, you guys know how I feel about Double R. I don't know if he can do it anymore. I think he likes TV, and we'll have to see who else is available. Daryl, thank you. So much of the problem is in the front office has to do with the way we're playing. How much? That's a serious question. There have been gambles that have paid off and some that haven't. I think it took the staff a while to realize that you can't just stick Nick Bolton on the field because you want him on the field. He's got to be in his role. And now this last 2 games, you've seen him do what he can do when he's playing in position. There is some disconnect there.
Yeah.
And I think there's also, and I know there's folks from the organization who will see this. This is a criticism that's meant to help you. There are people that won't say no to Andy. And I think that needs to be vocalized more. In the end, if he overrides you, fine. But you have to at least put up the fight because I think some of these evaluations have gotten away from them in the last couple of years.
I don't disagree. And like I said, I think both of us believe that a lot of everything goes through Andy Reid. And if we knew that for a fact, more of the criticism would fall on Andy than it has. And I think deservedly so. If we're all looking at ourselves in the mirror, the blame goes everywhere. And the guy that we all assume is pulling the strings deserves some as well. But it feels like it's going to Veach, it's going to Spags. Like right now we're starting to get some play calling stuff, but structurally, team-wise, it's on Andy too. And like I said, that's not...
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Andy doesn't work for a GM. At the end of the day, it stops with Andy. That is what it is. And unfortunately, I think Andy evaluates defensive players all the time, so it's not like it's a foreign thing to him. But I think he does see aspects of games that he likes, and I think, unfortunately, they get tied up on some of the intangibles a little bit more than the on-field athleticism in particular, but versatility in terms of style and scheme accessibility is the way I'd put it for the corners in particular. Do you see this game bringing out 2021 Titans Mahomes or 2018 Rams Mahomes? Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate it.
Does it have to be one or the other?
It seems like it does in this question. It's his world.
Oh gosh. Then I would lean more towards the Titans game because I don't think that 2018 Mahomes is ever coming back, guys. I'm not sure defenses are going to let it happen. I'm just
not until they crush the run and make them get out of too high. That's my thought. And that is one other thing to say, Joseph. He's not playing Aaron Rodgers. It is partially dependent on how the Packers choose to defend him. If they go cover 3 and they have still a single high, but they're playing those deep zones, I think there's more room for Mahomes to attack, and I think he might have a better day. Richie, welcome to the memberships. Glad you're here, buddy.
You guys are awesome.
No, you guys, we cannot find Dan a bigger cup of coffee. That was the maximum allowed by law.
It's actually not the maximum, but it is one of the best.
Do you think it is the defensive line coach that's the problem? K-Pass is doing well this year. Everyone we bring in is automatically worse every time. I don't think that it's daily at all, and K-Pass is not any better this year. His pass rush percentage of pressure is exactly the same as it was as Chief.
He's getting more
opportunity.
He's getting home more, and you figure he's got a better pass rusher on the other side. Cam Jordan is better than Frank Clark is, but I wouldn't say that he's not any better. He's getting home. And in Kansas City, I think he was getting there and he couldn't get home a couple times, quite a bit actually. He's getting home there. So I
ran his numbers. He's less than a percentage up in pressure rate.
Pressure rate. The pressure rate is different. I'm talking about getting home. Like he's actually converting more sacks.
Converting
Those
more. Okay,
opportunities are a bit better this year.
Okay, I'll look that up while you're looking at the next one because you're right. Finish percentage is important. Let's see, Alex. Do you guys find it annoying when complaining about some Chiefs or fans are doing? I mean, hey, everybody's got the right to bitch. That's how I feel.
Yeah, they do. And I think if you guys were members and you watched my rant video, we talked about how I think everyone has their own right to say what they want to on social media, and you have to deal with the consequences of those actions. And everyone, fans included, have that responsibility and right to do so. And we can all choose to deal with the toxicity of it, or we can choose to ignore it. If you choose to deal with it and acknowledge it, that's, again, you deal with those consequences. And Tyrann Mathieu did that. He dealt with the consequences of acknowledging the toxicity that he sees and that he sometimes seeks out. So it's a two-way door, and you have the choice to do either or. And whether you do or not, you have to deal with the consequences of what's given to you.
And you are absolutely right, Dan. His finish percentage is a good double of what it was his best season in KC. His overall pressure percentage is about the same.
That's fine.
But the finish is better. You're absolutely right. So, yeah, I mean, could just be the natural progression of Tano Passanio as well, because he has a guy that started late and needed to continue to progress. And sometimes when you get the base under you and you get a new coach that can hone in on one thing that can really make you better, that's why changing teams sometimes is a big help for some guys.
And I'll tell you, the defense in New Orleans is extremely well coached, guys. It's extremely good. And that's probably helping him too, because he has trusted linebackers behind him, safeties and corners behind him, and everyone on that defensive front. They all are very well coached. And yes, thank you, Lucky Croc. Love it. Yes, from Michigan men, here we are.
Appreciate the support. Mike Daniel, you're on fire tonight, buddy.
Oh,
you are feeling good tonight, and we appreciate the support in the meantime.
I
think there are two edges KC scouts should look at specifically in round one: Kingsley Egbare and Jermaine Johnson. Johnson specifically is on pace for 42 total pressures, 13 of them big-time sacks. I have Jermaine Johnson as a preseason third rounder. I think he's leapt up into the second. I will give you that. I'm not ready to call him a first rounder yet. And Egbare, I haven't done his 22 yet. I don't know if you have, Dan.
So
I've seen flashes. I've also seen a lot of disappearing.
I think I've cleared some time now. Every week I'm going to start looking at some players, specifically as of right now for round one targets. That's what I'm going to start doing. I think every Thursday I'm going to look at, and I'm going to try to find a way to get some film of some of these guys. But he's, I don't know if either of them are on my list right now, but Egbare might be.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, he's had some upsides. I've seen some nice plays. I've also seen him disappear at times. So I am always running the numbers. He's in the group, but he's not in the upper echelon of college football this year. So we'll see how he pans out. There's still a good bit of season left, you guys. But Mike, thank you. And good names. I will tell you this. I think the Chiefs are going to like Karlaftis. So go watch him, Purdue, because he's a power edge. He's not that explosive, but he'll do it all. And I think that's the mold that they're trying to grow into. I don't agree with it, but I think that's where they're going to go.
I'll tell you right now, if they draft him, I'm out.
Are you?
I'm done.
Yeah, you can start covering the Broncos. I got a spare room. Jace, I don't think CH is in any danger of losing his job. Might he have lost a couple of touches? Maybe. And I think that's a good thing. I think you need to spread it around and keep a fire lit underneath him by letting the other guys play.
Yeah. And I think Gore should be playing more than Daryl.
Yeah.
In terms of just pure rushes, Daryl's better pass protection.
Like more handoffs? Yeah.
Yeah. Split. Like if you're going to do a split, like they clearly want to do, Clyde and Gore are your two best options to do that with. I think Daryl is a better pass protector, still has some pass catching upside, and that's because they don't want to involve. They don't trust McKinnon. They don't. May as well cut him when Clyde comes back. They don't want to play him.
Sesh, welcome to the memberships. Glad you
Yes,
made it,
thank
buddy.
you.
I know you said you finally joined. I don't know if you've been considering it for a while, but we're glad you got in there. Michael, Rodgers loves to exploit defenses making changes mid-series, given our constant defensive confusion. I feel like the confusion's come down the last couple of weeks. There were a couple of alignment issues last week, but I didn't see, particularly the secondary, so out of sorts confused. But you're right. If they show any of that, Rodgers will hammer in on it. So they better be studied up. I will tell you that. Stevie, how are you?
Stevie.
Oh, this is for you.
Hi, Stevie. Appreciate you. Yes, I know driving Gooch crazy is one of all of our favorite pastimes. It's just a lot of fun to do. And let me know if you want some specific trigger talks. You can always let me know anything that gets that spidey sense of his tingling, and I will just start just throwing stuff on Twitter to get him going.
Coming Thursday mornings, Dan's new series, Trigger Topics. Oh, that'll be fun. Majai Sanders, yes, I agree with you, Madman. I do like him as well. And I'll tell you, Mizzou fans, a guy that was a grad transfer, Trey Williams, down in Arkansas, I like his game as well. He's got the length the Chiefs like as well. And I think he's got a lot of upside still in him. Let's see. How long is Kando going to be out? I don't have any update on his injury at all. Do you, Dan?
They're not giving us anything with the injuries. Nothing.
Okay. Who was the worst of the three? Marcus Cooper, Phillip Gaines, or Dan Sorensen? Gaines,
not even close. Gaines never had a good game. Never. Cooper at least had a couple, and Sorensen in the past has been fine. So
Cooper had a half a season where he was on fire.
Yeah.
Definitely Cooper. And let's not take away, Dan has made some big plays.
Yeah.
This is the worst he's looked as a Chief. He has had some good seasons and good plays. So let's not take away from him. Like, it's a different thing being a corner, though. So
much different.
Yeah. Thank you, Derek. We appreciate you. Thoughts on trading Chris Jones? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like his salary doesn't match his production. I think that's insane. And I know you guys keep hammering me about KCSN. I think those guys are great at what they do, but I could not disagree more. You do not trade a foundational player like Chris Jones. You build around him.
You should build around him specifically with defensive ends that don't take 3.5 seconds to get off their blocks.
And
but that's just me.
You notice the shorter path to the quarterback is a good thing for Chris Jones, right?
Right. If you get Chris Jones coming up, guess what? He's going to push him to good defensive ends. You get some athletic guys in there, you're going to actually convert more sacks. But what do I know? I don't know anything about football.
Poison its talent for the most part.
Yes. That's exactly. It's all talent. It's not based on the scheme because they mix up stuff up front. They do some nice blitzes. They don't have. We just talked about it. They don't have the athleticism required to beat tackles in the NFL right now, and it's why they haven't been able to get pass rush the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, they could run more games if they wanted to. Maybe that would help, but it's not. It's not going to be an epic leap. It is just that you put your money in having another guy to help Chris, and it hasn't panned out to this point. I mean, that's why we weren't saying this back in 19, because they were building, and that playoff run was epic, and you got contribution from your 2 stars plus a couple of role players. That can work. Looks like Little Miss is going to be in here in a second, so I'll take it. If Tyrant isn't on the roster, do we bring up a young safety from CB or move Fenton to safety? That is a very, very good question. And the problem is, I don't know of any of the corners on the roster right now off the top of my head on the practice squad that are the nickel variety.
Not off the top of my head. No, I can't think of it either.
So moving Fenton to safety, while while it's a viable option, I think that leaves you short-handed unless you just want to leave Snead at the nickel. And I think he's having a rougher time than I expected him to there. I wouldn't mind seeing him back on the boundary where he can lock half of it down myself.
I don't disagree. It's just, I think they're moving him around too much to get comfortable in one spot. And that's kind of making it just like Chris Jones. They don't want their players to get comfortable.
Yeah. It is part of it. Night, honey. She's so talkative now.
Oh, yeah.
Bradley, I'm glad you brought this up. I think you saw it get better last night against a front that still had some pretty serious weapons.
Yes.
I didn't see the tackles get too beat up with speed. I think they could have. I thought Orlando improved that and it compensated some. But Brandon Thorne, if you guys don't know him, he does a great job on his Substack. I've tried to get him on in the past. We just haven't been able to work out schedule-wise. He has an interesting piece up today, actually, about how you can tweak the scheme for this offensive line to make it more effective. I think it's definitely worth a read. You guys should go check it out. I think it is called, what's the name of it? His Substack? Do you remember, Dan?
It's Trench Warfare.
Trench Warfare. Yeah, that's it. So you can search that on Substack and you guys will find it. Let's see. Lady D, thank you for the support.
Thank
nice
you.
to see you. Do you think they will continue to play Sorensen? I do. They're not going to bench him. I hope that it goes back to like that 15 to 20 plays a game, because fresh, he's more effective, and closer to line of scrimmage, he's more effective. What happened again when they let him play half of a field deep? We saw what happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they tried to rest him, and then Spags wanted to try him again, and it just didn't work.
That's his thing, though. He's like, I got to get him back out there. I don't know what it is. Like it's like his apprehension with starting Juan Thornhill. He was like, I got to play Dan. Why?
A lot of folks late to the party asking about the new tight end whose name just completely
Dan Brown.
Me. Dan Brown. He's a special teamer. He can line up and block for you a little bit as a blocking tight end. He has some catching ability. He hasn't had an opportunity. He's not a threat like in, breaking down defenses. He could be an outlet, basically. Let's see. Flapjack. Oh, go Michigan State.
No, we don't want a Michigan State in here.
Old Sparty coming through. Mr. Tantalum. Ooh, that took me a second. Would running more power scheme with Clyde yield better gains? We both definitely think so.
I mean, it's proven. He had 200-yard games where they ran him between the tackles, and you want to know what happened? He was just running for 8, 7, 9 yards a carry, and they just were able to move the ball. And then they were just like, no, that's against the Bills. That's run to the outside. Make you go to – no. He's never been that.
Drake London 1, edge rusher Sanders 2, and Henry Tutu number 3. I am very relieved that Drake London's injury is a broken bone. It is not soft tissue. It is not ligaments. He will recover fully. Yeah. And luckily for the Chiefs,
that'll push him down draft boards.
I think he's out of the first round at this point, because there are a lot of teams that want to confirm what speed he does have, because he isn't, the electric speed guy. So I think there's a chance. I mean, if the Chiefs are still a playoff team like I expect them to be, and they're going to be picking in the 20s plus, I think they definitely have a shot at him if that's what they want. But if they spend a first-round pick on another wide receiver, I will lose my ever-loving mind. And you guys can watch it live.
I'm not sold that London is what the Chiefs want.
Yeah.
It's been pretty obvious what they look for, unless they want to change their dynamic. And I think Drake London is a tad better Michael Pittman. They don't separate very well, and they're much more go get the ball, make plays on the ball, do that kind of thing. I see them very similarly, and I wasn't a big Michael Pittman fan, but I haven't looked at Drake London's film yet. I just know that he's been basically their go-to guy they funnel targets to. And that can do a lot in college. That can hide a lot of stuff.
I think he is a little bit more athletic in terms of being able to break routes. I was a Pittman guy, because I think, especially in this offense, that's what you want your X to be, because he can make those tight plays. I don't necessarily think that they'll throw more of them, though.
Yeah,
they don't. You'll find it another situation where you look for Kelsey and Hill and you ignore the third receiver.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know that it'll pay off. Red Royce, thank you very much. And my best to you and yours as well. I found an email in my junk that I just found it last night that I will take a look at and get back to you on. So I hope you're doing well. Neil Smith, it's not much of a question for me.
I don't know much about Neil Smith. I'm not lying.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm going to say that real quietly.
I noticed that. Night Hunter, Jared Johnson can help his defense right now. Come coach it.
Do it now.
Let's see. Red Hood. We're going to wrap it up, you guys. I'm a couple minutes over, and I do have the draft show I have to go record here soon. So everyone who wants to trade Jones, can I remind you of all the 2000s DT rotation of Ryan Sims, Lionel Dalton, Junior Savii? I like Junior, though. John Browning and Tank Tyler. Good point, Red Hood. As you look ahead, how many games are W's? You got a guesstimate?
4 or 5 right now. That's what I got. I just don't have much confidence in the team playing right now.
I'm with you.
That can change in 2-3 weeks, but as right now, I just don't have it.
Adam, is this team changing their mindset or being stubborn? I saw a little bit of a change. I haven't been convinced that they're bought into it yet, though. Are you, Dan?
Now, Andy Reid was like, okay, for everybody in the organization that's about to hear this, I'm not comparing Andy Reid to a drug user. I'm not doing it.
Let's not do that.
Andy Reid's a little bit like the guy that first gets into AA or what it is. They go, they start making the effort, and they're right back to what they were doing earlier. Like, he had that playbook down. They got the ball out quick into the flats, and they got those yards after the catch. And then they were like, I got to throw the ball. I got to throw the ball down.
Right. I got to give them a chance to go deep.
That's just what it feels like. They're just being stubborn what they want to do.
I mean, here's my suggestion, and the coaching staff couldn't care less what I think, but I'll tell it to you guys. That first 15 was fine.
Yeah.
They need to do that, script it out to 30, 35 plays, and you need to run that all night long until they change what they're doing.
Yep.
And then you take the shots. It's
have
okay to take 8 or 10 or 14 yards at a time with your quick pass game. That is still better than most other teams run or quick pass game.
Yep.
So it's perfectly acceptable, and it will move the ball for them. So with that one, we're going to call it a night, you guys. I thank everyone for contributing tonight,
you guys,
and everyone for being here. We hit over 7 at one point.
That's awesome.
So very excited about that. We do have more for you. I don't know. I don't think we're going to have film by tomorrow, but Dan will have a topic.
I will have film by tomorrow, and I will have something, whether it's a video or
good.
whether it's a live film or whatnot.
Seth and I will argue about insanities of this offense on Thursday night, so don't miss that. That's always fun. And I was going to blow up last night, but I didn't do like the members video yet. I will probably produce one. It'll be a little bit later in the week. Don't miss Rogue Head Huddle from the boys, and Gooch has a special for the members coming up tonight too, so you can still join the members whenever you guys want. To all you new members, welcome. I hope that you enjoy it. For all the contributors tonight, thank you for your support. We will be back with you tomorrow. Dan, enjoy your night, and especially go check on the little one.
I will. You guys, everyone, have a great night.
Night, everyone.